Oh, I do love countdowns. They take longer than ever to to count down now. I mean, there we
Oh,
go.
there we go. How you getting on?
Well, I feel like one of those rugby players just shouldered me. My shoulder still feels like I feel like
I thought you were going to say I felt like one of them rugby players fisted me.
no, we get Zuckerberg. No,
uh,
no, no.
no,
Sadly
so you're still not well then? Is that what you're telling me? You're
no.
still
I feel
ill?
rough. I feel rough. Feel rough.
Terrible.
Feel
No,
rough. I don't know what it is. It's post COVID psychosomatic illnesses. I
oh,
don't think it is, but unfortunately,
no.
Hmm.
I have a wee drop of water here with me tonight because my bloody throat's getting all, you know that. You know what you sort of feel just before you take a cold or something. You know
Yeah,
where your throat's a bit sort of
taste
dry.
goes off. Everything goes off. You
No,
don't.
I don't necessarily say my taste off, but it's just sitting a bit
Mhm.
wonky, you know.
Okay.
But aye, but you're feeling better than you were last week then.
Feeling better than last week, so we had to do Sunday. So welcome along to Irish Whiskey Review. It's where we chew the fat of everything to do with whiskey, bourbon, scotch, and all that. If you like it, hit subscribe, hit share, follow us on Facebook as well. Thomas Jones has said hello already tonight. Hello to you, TJ. How you doing?
No, how we
Uh,
doing? How we doing?
Big show tonight again.
Aye, well, I have plenty to discuss because there's been quite a lot of stuff happened over the last 6 days. Not least, I've been doing this, doing my mate Jim sent me over some samples. A couple of other people sent me samples as well. But Jim sent me over some samples for me to do a comparative tasting just to see if I could sort of get it. And briefly scouring what was there, I had a look. And I think of most of it, I wasn't too bad. Wasn't too far off the mark. Some of them probably not as close as I'd like to think. But yeah, so that's always a nice thing to do. Um, I see Declan. He sent me over some samples.
All right.
I see we have a load of samples at the minute. So yeah, after we're finished, I might sit and just work my way through a few samples. Might stick something in the TV and sit and watch that. Maybe not even only Fools and Horses this time. I might watch something different.
That may change. That
I
might.
watched 4 episodes earlier on. Just to keep me.
Do you not know them word for word? But now
I
at
do
this
know
point,
every single word for word.
all right,
I
okay.
seriously know them word for word. But yeah, it's all good. All good.
All right, very good, very good.
All right.
So I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to this because when we first saw this, we thought this was one of the most innovative ways to display a whiskey that we'd ever seen.
Yeah, it's well, we'll run through the news, and then the last thing tonight, I want to talk a couple of bits and pieces, but there's a thing I watched. I don't tend to watch a lot of these, but I watched one today and this morning, and I thought it was quite poignant, and probably a lot of what the guy says is fairly relatable to what's happening or what I think's happening a lot. But first off, I want to go to our very, very good friends at Sleeve League because their Kilcar edition, it was released back in August, with the beautiful presentation. If you want to just bring it up, Justin. I mean, when you saw it, everybody saw it was just, oh my God, it's beautiful. It looks fantastic. Now, just to put it in context, this is their first release. This is their first released spirit. Coming this really, really beautiful, lovely presentation. Limited to 100 bottles, and it was €300 a pop. Everybody was raving about it and saying it was great. Now, we got one in the friend for the collection down there, and we noticed fairly quickly that it was beginning to drop on the level. Now, it shouldn't really be doing that after a month or two. I mean, it really shouldn't. Now, this week, James down there, James Doherty, sent out a letter I think people had got back to him saying there's lots of this evaporating out. So do you want to pull up the letter, just?
I think this is the right one, is it? Yep.
Aye, they pull it up full screen so people can actually see what it says or have a
Yep.
better idea of it, seeing it. Basically, what he's saying is he's very disappointed by the way the bottle has been lossing out. Evaporation loss will accelerate as the liquid volume reduces. So to protect the integrity of the bottling for those collecting them, he is drunk as letting us. No, it's a drop down there. I can't read it now.
All right.
Basically, letting us stabilize the liquid and come back to you with another bottling solution. It's the right thing to do. Now, he says big thanks to Anthony down at Irish Whiskey Auctions, and Irish Whiskey Auctions post it on this link as well.
Yep.
So we're supporting Slave League in the recall of these bottles. So anyone can drop a bottle in any of our depots, and we're facilitating returning them to Slave League. We will not be auctioning them in their current conditions, as it does not reflect an issue for seller or the new buyer. James and the team of Slave League are being very proactive in resolving the evaporation issue and will ensure that everyone who participates in the recall will have something that will hold its value, collectible value in the future, and also be a good drinking whiskey should the owner choose to open it. It's unfortunate. I mean, these things happen.
Seem to be dealing with it pretty professionally, but
yeah, I mean, that's it. A fair play to them, as just as I see Jim's just posted up there. Fair play to them. I mean, people, I suppose it's one of those chances that you take. Anyone who knows James or Moira down in Ardra, I mean, they're the most amazing people. They're lovely people. Watch this every week as well. So they are letting people know. So it's a good thing. But just to highlight the amount of evaporation, I got Jim down in the shop, down the front of hand, to take a picture of the bottle in its current state. So let's just have a look at this, Justin.
Do I have that one?
Yes.
Hold on.
You do.
Oh, I do.
Mm-hmm. Right. So pull it up.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You've just been drinking it.
No. Unfortunately not. Pull it back up full screen again. As you can see. So that's since August. So September, October, November, December, January, February, in about 6 months. And as it goes down further, it's going to be pulling it up. Yeah, so Jim's asking if should himself, me, and Ray decide to drain it, will it be filled up? I don't know. I suppose we could get in touch and ask. But I mean, we were noticing it every day. We would.
Is it not unprecedented that?
Well, not really. I mean, if you put whiskey into a small cask, and that's just, in essence, I suppose that's what that is. For the people who drank their bottle and enjoyed it, excellent, good on them. But
that's like a third.
It's there's probably about 40% of it if you look at it,
mm-hmm.
And it's only going to get quicker. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but they are dealing with it. And if anyone hasn't received the letter, get in touch, and they will sort you out. But as I say, it's unfortunate. It looked absolutely beautiful when it came out, but it just evaporated away. So there you go.
Right.
So yeah, as Frank's saying, big fan of Slave League. They're to be commended the way they're handling the situation. They are. I mean, it's just unfortunate. This is what happened. But there'll be somebody will have one that just doesn't like. This. There's got to be one there that just doesn't do it, and that'll be the one that'll be the most collectible one. That'll be the one that'll fly off. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if that ever happens. But yeah,
if you held it in the pressure chamber, it wouldn't leak.
Yep, positive pressure.
Yeah,
it's one of them. What do you call them? Pack machines. The ones that people wear for sleep apnea.
Yeah.
Is it K-Pack, C-Pack? Is it C-Pack? something like that. Anyway.
CPAP, something like that. Yeah.
It's one of them you stick over your face. It's probably pressure. Get a whole pile of them around your thing. Keep it in. Be worth a clean fortune in the years to come. But yeah, it's unfortunate, but there you go. So if you haven't heard about that, you should have had their letter. If you haven't, then get in touch. And I'm sure they will be more than happy to do something to help you get rectified. Now, just across the water, over in Islay, was it 2 years ago?
Yes, lovely place.
Ardbeg have bought this. They bought the Islay Hotel. Now, the Islay Hotel is just right down at the dock. So they bought it a couple of years ago, and they're giving us a bit of info on as to what is going to happen. They are going to rename it Ardbeg House for a start. And then they are going to spend millions in this place. By the way, the people that own Ardbeg are that LVMH. So if you're not sure who that is, that's Louis Vuitton, Moet and Hennessy.
Mm-hmm.
And they are enormous company. I think the guy that owns it, is he not like the third richest man in the world or something?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're going to spend a lot of money on this. So what's going to happen? The Ardbeg House should be open about May next year. It's going to have a new courtyard, new bar in it called the Islay Bar, new restaurant. The rooms are all going to be refitted, new beds. There's going to be an exclusive spot in a room that are going to be exclusive to the residents and the Ardbeg committee members. So that's a nice little perk for people that have been committee members. There's also going to be a whiskey cave, and it'll have its own bottle of Ardbeg just for the hotel. Now, I imagine it'll be quite high end. It's going to be pricey, but it'll be a nice thing.
The artist's impression does look fantastic, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing is I hope that it's going to be not just Ardbeg, I hope it's not like a visitor centre for Ardbeg, and that they do have the other Islay whiskies at hand, because it sounds sort of daft that they wouldn't do that. But then again, I suppose, do you want to be selling your competition, or do you take the philosophy a rising tide lifts all ships? Now, on the sort of blurb, they were talking about how it's basically next door to the distillery. It's just down the road from the distillery. If you want to pull that graphic up, Nelson.
Yep.
Now, it's an hour and 20 minutes walk. It's 3.5 miles from Ardbeg Distillery down to the Islay Hotel. So it's heading down. So it's not just next door to it.
We could walk it, but I doubt many Americans could.
Well, I think you probably find most Americans are in better shape than your good self, Justin.
at the minute.
No, but as I say, it's an interesting project. It'll be interesting to see exactly what happens with it. But I would imagine it's going to be pricey. Is going to be pricey. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. So if you're not sure exactly where the Islay Hotel is, I just zoomed in a little bit on the hotel. So it's right just down at the dock. Nice food in it, and currently has a really good whiskey bar, as you would suspect. Now, just seeing there that James has jumped on, even though away in Prowan, and if having to recall our Sleeve League bottle wasn't enough, we lose to England. Yes. Now, the rugby. The rugby. Honestly, it was a brilliant game. Let's be honest. It was a superb game. I didn't catch much of the Italy-Scotland one, but I heard it was a fantastic game, and well done, Italy. Great result for them. But yeah, I think Ireland should still win overall. But hats off to England. I thought they played fantastic. It was just a little dull that Ireland seemed to pull up, and then they caught up in them again.
There you go. Kevin Lilly says still in bad form after the rugby as well.
So if anybody here from the States or whatever don't know what we're talking about, the Six Nations was on today. Ireland was at England in Twickenham, and they get beat by a point in the last 5 seconds. It was basically it was the last touch of the ball. But yeah, it was a great game to watch.
It was. Even I was watching it, and I don't even like sport. So there you go. So James is a pro wine. Yes. And what else? That'll be me. LOL. Committee member doesn't do much for me being in Canada, but Russ is a committee member. There you go.
Send us over your thing. Me and Justin might be able to make.
We'll go over the boat. We'll go over the boat.
Oh, no,
I'm not risking my life again in that boat. It was a bit of a hurry.
I've been over a couple of times in the boat, and I was over 3 times in the boat, and twice it was not great. Or sorry, once it was not great. Then the time I went with you, it was out of this world. We thought we weren't going to make it, and the next day it was like a pane of glass heading across. A beautiful sunny day. So there you go. I'm going over again next month. Sorry, the end of this month, next month. I'm going over again. So there you go. James says, epic game and good to see England playing like they should. Still wanted to win. I know. But
I know the Malaysian businessmen didn't pay enough.
Justin thinks it's all fixed. Justin's always the conspiracy theory. He thinks Jack Ruby was accidentally set up by the Martians set him up or something like this. The idea of trying to fix a rugby match where you have 2 sets of 15 men instructed plus all the coaching staff, right? I don't think so. I mean, did you watch the Anthony Joshua fight last night? Anybody? He gave your man some wallop. That was I thought your man was going to need major surgery after it. But anyway, it was some wallop. Yeah.
Well,
but anyway, now I tell you what else I have. I forgot to mention this. I had this before I left to go to the States. The Green Man Poaching. And that's very weird graphic. It's a bit sort of Halloween looking.
Mm-hmm.
This is from our friends down at Glen Money. You know why I like this? Do you know what this is? You know the way they brew their beer? Basically what they do is they've just distilled the leftover beer and turned it into this poaching. And you're like, that's a great idea. You know the way people talk about recycling and helping the environment, and if you're going to help the environment, use them crappy paper straws instead of plastic ones, keep Greta Thunberg happy. This is proper recycling. This is what we need. More of this kind of thing.
But you're stealing the cow's share of the mash bill, are you not then?
What?
Do the cows not get to eat the leftover beer or something like that there?
That's it. That's it. Aye. You've made the beer, right? It's a liquid.
Right.
It's not sold enough. It's going to go off.
Right.
What they do is just run it through the still.
Right.
We're poaching.
Lovely.
So that's recycling. That's proper recycling. Greta Thunberg, that's what you should be getting pissed on. That's a good idea. So yeah, Greta will be all happy with these guys down there. So yeah, I think that's a great idea. It's just sort of a bit funky and quirky, Anyway, but then they are a bit funky and quirky, those guys. But I hope you don't mind me saying. Next, we're heading over to I suppose it is a brand new distillery over in Leith, who are wanting something a bit weird. I saw this the other day. Now, the Leith distillery, for anyone who's not sure where Leith is, it's where the Royal Drop Britannia is, outside of Edinburgh, or Edinburgh, if you're an uncultured of the species. So the distillery's up and running after a bit of a delay. And what they're looking for is, what's the name they call it? They're looking for a quality control division. Now, this is a bit of a strange thing, and I don't know whether I like it or not, the idea or the concept, but I think it's genius. Whether I like it or not is kind of irrelevant. What they've decided to do is they want to set up a quality control division where the people in it kind of work for the place, but they don't. Okay, so what happens is, I think this is kind of genius. You sign up to it, and basically you become like a test panel. Now, is it 8 years you sign up for? and there's a quality control division tier 1 membership. An analyst is £550 to become a member. But for that, you get 16 20cl single cask samples, 2 70 cl 7-year bottles. You get a starter pack, which includes samples of our experimental new mix spirit, a notebook, a t-shirt, a membership card, and then at the very end, a Port of Leith pencil and some stickers. So it's always nice that they throw a pencil in there.
Is that annually or for the whole term?
That'll be for the whole term. I mean,
Right.
Yeah, that'll be for the whole term. But I suppose it's a nice way for people to get jumped into the progress of the whole place.
It's a lovely building, very good distillery, absolutely lovely.
I couldn't get over the day you went over, but I'm going to be there. I think I'm going to be there the end of next month. The end of next month, I'm there because it's one of the tour locations that we're going to be doing over there.
Very nice, very nice.
Instead of going to the Blair Athol distillery, they've changed the tour around, so we're going there instead. But yeah, so there's tier 2 membership, 8 years, 32 samples, you get 4 bottles, and it's 900. And you don't worry, you still get the pencil. If that's the selling point, you still get a Port of Leith distillery pencil. But yeah, as I say, it's a nice thing. Jump on board. Okay, it's costing you a bit, but I would imagine there'll be other perks within the 8 years. I would imagine there'll be, if you said to the guy, so you're coming down to run, somebody might come out and meet you, that kind of thing. So well worth if you're interested in that kind of thing. That'd be a nice thing to do.
Makes an ideal Mother's Day present.
Oh yes. Oh, absolutely. Your mum would be more than happy to be pissed out of her head and new make spirit from Port Leith Distillery of an evening. So I need to get myself a little drinky poo here. So take that. I'll get one of the ones that Declan sent me. I'm going to go for a Loch Ree 16-year-old single malt, limited edition bottles of only 208 bottles. So we'll just get that. See, Jim's saying who doesn't like stickers. Jim's a big fan of lapel badges and all that kind of stuff. He loves a lapel badge, does Jim? So he does. He likes all that kind of thing. I quite like it too. I quite like it all too. Well, I'm not casting aspersions at you, my friend. But yeah, so who doesn't like a sticker? Now, pour that out, let it sit for a second. Next up, last week we had... we were talking about the middle and MVRs being released. Well, the one that was on the Block Bar thingy, which I still don't, if I'm being totally honest, I'm not 100% convinced I know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about this. But the bottle's a physical bottle, but it's sold as an NFT. A non-fungible token.
Right.
Means it's on the blockchain, and if it's sold or whatever, then it's a transaction, they say. Now, this was a bloody bottle with rubies and all this kind of stuff and all that jazz, you know. Quite a nice looking thing. I got sent a couple of photos of the ruby, the actual £20,000 bottle, and it looks stunning. This is a one of one where they've actually studded it with rubies and all this kind of stuff. So if you pull it up the page, and you had to buy this using Ethereum, which is a cryptocurrency. Again, don't really understand what an Ethereum is or that particularly, but that's what you had to do. Now, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, just because it's sold. Tasting notes. Who the hell's going to be tasting it?
Chocolate and plum, my favourite.
Oh, my chocolate and plums.
There's a big wheel.
On down. Past Devon Gorm, past Brian Nation, past Barry
Crockett,
past Silvery Cast, tells a story, all the publicity bump. On down.
All right.
On down. Now, stop.
All right.
Because that tells you the price.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Double the reserve?
It wasn't double the reserve, it was just double the starting price. So $120,000 it went for. Yeah. It's a 101 Middleton with rubies and shit on it. Yeah, it's always going to go nuts. But yeah, it €120,000 for a ball.
That is frightening. That is absolutely frightening. That is seriously frightening.
But the thing is, you think about it, if it was a 101 Macallan celebrating whatever, blah blah blah, what's that? It would be, I don't know, 5 times that. Aye, Justin knows what that is, and he probably bought it.
Wait to tell you, you could buy 2 houses in Hull for that kind of money.
But the thing about it is that'll go up in money. The 2 houses in Hull's all they go to be is a drain around your neck as the tenants wreck the place and you still have to pay the rates. I don't know. I mean that's somebody. I mean it's only a showpiece ornament. It's like a work of art. Ethereum is a small. He's Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes. But yeah, as I say, it went for 120. But it's I don't get the whole blockchain thingy. I suppose I kind of do. If it's not a real thing, then I kind of understand why it's a blockchain thing. Because if you just have it as a digital thing, then that's fine. But the fact there's something physical, and they're trying to say, oh, this keeps a record of who buys it and who doesn't.
Add value to it.
But what if I buy it and drink it? But that's your blockchain, not fucked.
Or you drop it.
No, it's still on the blockchain. Yeah. I'm fucking necked. I've necked. Me and the boys necked it last night. You know what? The fuck, I filled it up again. Set it on. There you go. Well, you go. Sure, nobody's ever going to know.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. But listen, that there's just crazy. I mean, it just shows you. Just shows you the bottom hasn't dropped out of the market yet, has it?
Oh,
really?
There's still money about. Don't worry about that. There's always money about. It's just where people decide to spend it. But hopefully they'll spend it in the Jameson Middleton Distillery experience because it's finally reopened after the disaster in September last year. I think we all remember the water running down the middle of Middleton town, carrying cars, and the fact that just horrendous floods after they spent the.
They just done it up, haven't they?
Yeah, I think they'd only opened it was maybe a week or 2 weeks off the top of my head, but it reopened today. You could book the tickets today, and they have that says Heart and Soul of Irish Whiskey. There's everything from starts at €26 for a tour. The last 75-minute tour for €26. That's fantastic value for money. And if you're paying anybody €26 for 75 minutes of their time, I think that in something like Jameson, I think you're doing all right. Then it goes all the way up to the Discover Academy. Now, as far as I know, that's the one that's held in the Distiller's Cottage, and it's €350. But yeah, that's a whole. You get behind the scenes over the warehouse tastings, and do the whole sort of Middleton Very Rare. You get a taste of Middleton Very Rare. You get a taste of the various bits and pieces. So yeah, nice to see them getting back open. I think the whole place was just absolutely wrecked. So it's nice to see them getting sorted out and back up and running. I'll just close that down. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Good on them. Here's and more party to be wheel. They're expecting 200,000 visitors a year,
which is a amount of people.
But I don't think that's that big for something. I mean, Jameson is enormous. I mean, Jameson is outsells all the rest of Irish whiskey combined. And whenever you think about the cruise ships coming in down the Cove and stuff, it's only up the road.
What's the Guinness Storehouse get a year?
Damn straight, more than 200,000.
Right.
I would say the Guinness Storehouse, I would imagine probably about 500,000.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just churning people through, you know. But yeah, as I say, it's It's good to see them up and running. Good to see them up and running. Now, whenever we touch on this Lochrie, I've had a couple of Lochries before, and the guys down there seem to have a fairly decent idea of what they're doing. That's tasty stuff. I like that. Yeah, I think that sounds bloody lovely, that there. Anyway.
Halfway through the show tonight, remember to comment, like, and share. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Telegram, Twitch, and wherever you get your podcasts from as well. And, well, what does that say? Peter Stewart says 200,000 times £26 is all right. It is.
It is. You know, that'll keep the lights on. It'll keep the paying the insurance in case somebody
floods again.
again.
Oh, flood insurance doesn't work. You can't get that. It doesn't work, does it?
Well, it all depends where you are. If you're in a floodplain, it doesn't work. But if you're not, I probably said this before, but I remember being in Middleton a few years ago, pre-COVID, and there's the sort of main street of Middleton town. There's a little side street. I parked in the car park and I come walking up round. I was looking for a bite of breakfast, and I come walking around, and I looked up the road, looked up the street, and there's a few tables and chairs, like a little cafe. Nice sunny day. A couple of cafes, or a cafe with a couple of tables and stuff sitting outside it. But as I was getting closer, I could see the guests cocking their ears up, and then I started to hear two people shouting at each other up the stairs. Quite obviously, people that own the place, and and the next thing the guy says, "Would you keep your voice down? The customers down below might hear you." At which point the wife turned around and says, "I don't give two fucks about the customers." He was angry. "I don't give two fucks about the customers," she said. So yeah.
This is like something out of Father Ted, actually.
I was there funny. I was in stitches, so absolutely had to stop there. That was the place that I died at. I can't remember the name of it, but it was there funny. All you heard was, "I don't give two fucks about the customers." Hilarious. Now, I saw this the other day. It's just launched. For anybody who's been on our Facebook page recently, you'll have noticed that there is 1,000,001 scammers every single time you put up something or somebody comes in below. "Oh, do you want to buy this bottle? Do you want this? Do you want that? Blah, blah, blah. Come join this group, buy this, I have a bottle of that." You know, if you don't know them and you have no references and you check their profile and they've got one friend last week, it's a scam. Don't click on it, just hit it, report it, delete it, block them, do that. I mean, every day we get the stuff just coming in, and you just have to delete and block, because there's just so many of them. There's not an awful lot else you can do, really.
It's annoying, it's frustrating, but you're better ignoring them than do, you know.
As I say, just if there's anybody in our feeds or any of that kind of stuff that are trying to sell bottles, if you don't know them personally, just avoid. If, however, someone talking to you and say, "Look, I do have a bottle of this, I'll send you a sample," or something like that. If you're not sure, message me. Just message the page, and just say, "Listen, this guy's trying to sell stuff," and I'll, if I know them,
but you will get people to impersonate us as well.
Okay,
you will. You'll get that.
But it's not that hard to prove whether or not it's me or Justin. Just offer me free whiskey, and I'm pretty much anybody's. Offer him free food. Once you might eat, no problem. Job done.
That's true.
Job done. So, and you'll get some guy from Pakistan or Bangladesh or wherever the hell they're coming from, and you offer them stuff, and they'll be like, "No, I'm very much interested in such. If it's me or him, you'll know. Okay, you'll know." But yeah, so the scammers are there. You also get. I hate using this, but they're kind of professional scammers. It's the guys who are misrepresent. They're going to actually sell you something. They are a legitimate company, but they're also, shall we say, being economical with the truth, or they're exaggerating this, or they're doing that. They're doing a number of stuff. They're all basically it's around selling casks. I'm not going to say you can't make money at buying casks. You can. There are investment houses that have a proven track record of doing this kind of stuff. So don't think that, just don't go, I'm not doing any of it. But I saw this the other day, and a guy who's been on the show set this up along with another guy who is fairly well respected buyer of stuff, and they've set up a thing called Protect Your Cask. Are you interested in buying Scotch whisky cask? This will apply to Ireland as well. Maybe you heard about potential profits to be made from a friend or saw on social media and promising a high rate of return on your investment if you buy a cask. Protect Your Cask provides useful information for prospective investors, explaining how to make a legal and more careful investment in a Scotch whisky cask while avoiding scams and risky schemes, of which there are many. Now, there's a webinar coming up on the 14th of March. Basically, these guys are not trying to sell you anything. All they're going to do is tell you that's just not true. These guys, we know them. They don't sell the casks that these guys are saying they're going to. This is what you're going to have to do if you buy a cask, this blah, blah, blah. So they're not selling you anything. It's just if you're thinking of buying a cask, these are some of the pitfalls. Some of the things that you need to be wary of. Don't be, like anything else, don't be investing all of your money on something that some guy has told you that overnight you're going to be Bill Gates. So I think it's a great thing that they're trying to do. Your man Mark Littler does give advice on, but you can buy stuff through him on a different sort of platform and media. But what they're trying to do is just say, look, don't be falling for the scams and the bluff and the bluster that these guys come out with. As I say, perfectly legitimate ways and means of buying casks. You can make money on them, but don't fall for the bullshit or it's just the snake oil guys. And these guys are providing free advice on what to do, which I think is to be commended.
Good. No,
that's very nice. Huh? Now, I don't tend to watch a lot of whiskey stuff that people put out for various reasons. But I can't stand the shouty people. The people, you magnificent bastards. All that kind of like, right, let's do them a nut after about 2 minutes. And I get fed up whenever I hear the big corporations are trying to rip you off. Big corporations don't want to giving you a crappy product. Big corporation. If it's a crappy product, I don't have to part with it. I don't have to spend the money. Like I don't need patronised. If I want to buy a bottle of Johnny Walker Red Label because I want to buy a bottle of Johnny Walker Red Label, I'm not supporting the capitalist overlords that are standing on the poor working class. I'll buy whatever the fuck I like, So I don't tend to watch that much of these guys. But one that I do pop into some of them, but one that I do have actually quite a bit of time for is Fred Minnick, the bourbon guy. Now, most people know I don't drink a huge amount of bourbon, but anytime I've seen Fred Minnick on, he can be a bit shouty, he can be a bit giving off about the larger guys, he can be a bit this, a bit that. But on the whole, he's really quite a chill kind of guy. He posted a thing, possibly yesterday. When did he post it? Whenever he posted it very, very, very recently. And it's called, Is the Bourbon Boom Over? Now, in it, he goes through his opinion on what's actually sort of happening. It's only 15 minutes. And he highlights some of the things that's going on and how he sort of formed his opinion on what is going on. It's well worth watching because a lot of what's happening there, I think, is very easily translatable to what's happening in Irish whiskey. He says, if you look at the share price of some of the big guys that are listed on the stock exchange, he says, they're easy to find out. Diageo's share price has dropped a little bit, AMGPs has dropped, and so on. Why? for various reasons. There's some specific stuff like slowing sales in certain areas that have affected the Diageo's price and so on. He's talking about distributors having problems with payment, the way people are taking payments, and so on and so forth. How translatable that is to Irish whiskey or Scotch whiskey. Some of it probably is, some of it probably isn't. I'm not that well versed in the whole distribution thing. I know it's a bit of a minefield. I really should talk to Sam McDonald about that up in Belfast. He'd be able to keep me right. But one of the things that he highlights in it is that a lot of people are the sort of age of experimentation is coming to a little bit of a halt. And what he means by that is people have began to suss out that their everyday go-to whiskey, I don't know, whatever price it is, whatever one, $30, $40, is every bit as good and better as the stuff that they've just been paying $90, $80, $90, $100 for. And Irish whiskey is suffering badly from this at the minute. There is lots of mediocre stuff.
Your go-to drink, Marty, has probably been around for a couple of 100 years now. It might have changed the taste, the palates.
It'll probably not have been around for a couple of 100 years, and it will certainly have changed. But the thing is, you'll have a couple of go-tos, a go-to bourbon, maybe a couple of go-to bourbons, I don't know, Maker's Mark or something like that. And for the last few years, there's been a slew of all these new bourbons, new whiskey, new single malts over in America, and an absolute mountain of them. And people have went, "Oh, I'll try that," and then they go, "Well, I've still got half a bottle sitting there. It cost me $100, and you know something? It's not any better than the Maker's Mark that I've been drinking for years."
Mm-hmm.
So there's a sort of slowing down of that. Now he's been talking to some of the larger guys, and he says that some of the larger guys are sort of pivoting a little bit more to concentrate on the tourist element, because you have, the Texas Trail, the Bourbon Trail, all that kind of stuff, and the likes of Buffalo Trace, who have a huge fan base, are because the stuff that they sell is really sought after, more for a collector's market. They've started to sort of change a little bit, where they're doing a lot more in regards to tourism. I think lots of what he says in this article or in this piece is translatable to Ireland. I think there's so much whiskey has been pumping out, and you're getting 3, 4, 5-year-old whiskies that they're charging extortionate amounts of money for, and at the minute they can get away with it because it's basically going to sit on a shelf. But long term, that's not good for a brand. Nobody's going to be drinking it. So there's that medium between the stuff that the collectors want to have a nice collection, the stuff that people open to drink, the people that invest. But ultimately, you're a distillery. You have to make a good product. Otherwise, it's not going to be something that people want to collect anyway. Because if it's rubbish whiskey, what's the point? So yeah, it's a great piece. Really, really, really nice piece.
Should we hit the video?
Do we have time?
15 minutes long. We've got 15 minutes to run. Do you want to cover the other couple of things?
The only thing is, what I will say is, at one point he says, buy the independents, because they need your support. And there's no more. A great friend of the show who popped up over in Ohio, who met him, was Sir Morris, from Liberator and Lakeview Single Estate, who, if you can read, Fred Minnick, even after all these doing whiskey shows, a brand can stop me, surprise me and excite me. That's what Liberator Whiskey did tonight at the first of 3 Ohio Liquor Irish Cask and Craft event series. While I have had their whiskey finished before, I have not tasted their whole portfolio. Great lineup, so much nuance in their whiskey. I couldn't agree more. I love what Morris is doing down there. The port style finish, Liberator stuff that he's doing, which is all sourced. Lakeview, he doesn't have a distillery. Grow his own barley, get it malted, distilled for him at Great Northern, brought back down to age down in the estate. And we've seen the history of the bottle and all that kind of stuff.
Fantastic.
It is, and it's a great whiskey. I mean, he's doing stuff really, really well and at a fairly affordable price. I mean, bottle of Liberator, nice whiskey, setting you back, 70, £80 a bottle. Now, Jim sort of keeps me going sometimes because if somebody comes in, look at a present, something a little bit different, a little bit special, wanting to spend sort of £100. Lakeview Estate's probably the one that I take them straight over to. That or Liberator because it's got a great story to it. So yeah, great piece by Fred Minnick. Well worth. A lot of it I think is transferable over to Irish whiskey. So if you want to play that, I'll play us out and we'll bid you farewell.
Catch you same time, same place next week.
Take care, guys.
Here, and today I want to go over the state of bourbon, and here we are right now, March 1st, 2024, and I did not think I'd be having this conversation this early, but I've been getting hit up by a lot of people talking about how the industry is changing. Some people are coming at it out of fear that the bourbon boom is about to bust. Others are kind of sitting back, eating their popcorn, hoping that they can find Pappy Van Winkle on the shelf again. Neither thing I think is going to happen. But there are some things that I do want to look at and address and kind of give my take on it, because I do think it's important that we watch it. First of all, when I am looking at the state of the industry, as I did with my book, Bourbon, the Rise, Fall, and Rebirth of American Whiskey, I look at a few factors. The first factor I look at is how are the publicly traded companies are doing. And the reason why I do that is because that information is so accessible. You can crack open a quarterly or yearly financial report from Diageo, Brown-Forman, MGP, companies like this, and you can get an idea of how that company is, their goals. You can get an idea of where their pitfalls are. And 3 major things have happened already this year, and I want to address each one of those. One, Brown-Forman sold one of its cooperages to the Independent Stave Company, which is the largest barrel manufacturer in the world. Brown-Forman still has cooperages. They're still making their own barrels. I just never personally felt like that facility fit into their portfolio, and I didn't think they needed another one. Like they already have a behemoth of a cooperage facility and setup. So I don't think that was anything to be alarmed about. I think that was one where that cooperage didn't fit in the portfolio. Someone else needed one, and there's a chance to earn a little revenue there. But Brown-Forman is going to be fine when it comes to making barrels. So I think that's one that is, just kind of like cross that off as like, it's just like selling something that you don't need anymore. MGP, it was announced, I would think a few days ago. Today's March 1st. This was announced, I think, February 22nd, 24th, somewhere around there. And they're down 20% for the year. And that was, that's one where, MGP is a different kind of company. They're not like Brown-Forman, where they've got a juggernaut in Jack Daniels. MGP is a company that's supplying whiskey to a lot of other brands. And so I think that's an interesting one to look at, but I don't, just seeing their readjustment to it already. So just yesterday they announced a $100 million share repurchase program. So, they're already trying to fix that, if you will. But again, this is stocks. So this is one thing to look at to see how a company's going. Diageo also had a very soft report recently, and they put the blame mostly on their efforts in Latin America. So if you think about these companies, they're global companies. Like the United States, the domestic trends here, they matter, but they're not the whole picture. And so Diageo put a lot of efforts into Latin America, and they're saying they didn't pan out for whatever reason. Now, while that information is available, you can go and look at these reports yourself and make your own, decisions, or make your own opinions. Put them in the comment section, please do. I'll also put the links to each one of those financial things I just talked about in the description. Now, that is publicly traded, so that they are not. Sometimes these companies are doing things based on what Wall Street wants, not necessarily what you want or what a liquor store wants. Now, this is a trend that is not based on any kind of, it's not based on, how should I put this? It's not based on research. It's not based on a company coming out publicly with issues that are happening. It is based on anecdotal evidence that I have been hearing for the last 3 months. Now, granted, I talked to a lot of people about this, retailers, distributors, and suppliers. And there are reports from people that the retailers are telling me that, a lot of retailers are telling me that customers are not buying new products. So they're coming in and they're buying their mainstay bourbon that they typically get, whether it's Maker's Mark or Old Forester or Wild Turkey 101. I mean, they're just focusing on what they like. They might splurge a little bit, but they are staying within that window, and they're not getting a new brand to them that's a blend of straights from 2 different states or 3 states, or they're not trying that new craft rye whiskey. And that is indeed a problem that we should flag and look at as, like, have we reached that point where consumers are like, I know what I want. I'm done with that experimentation side. That's something to be very much looking at. And for the newer brands that are out there, that's got to be scary. But at the same time, there's enough tools that are out there that people can build an audience, and they can build as long as their whiskey's good, they can get that shelf space. Because here's the thing, if the whiskey's good, that will overcome everything all the time. A couple other things that I've heard from distributors, and every state is going to be different in terms of how they can take payment, but I've had some distributors tell me that they are not getting paid like they normally do by retailers, and the retailers are not ordering new product. So going back to that conversation of, like, they're not, no one's trying new things. People are trying new things, but they're a little bit more cautious about it. According to distributors I've talked to, and I would say, let's just say 12 states. So I feel like that's a pretty accurate number of the people I've been talking to, and they're all reporting very similar issues. But this is the one that's the scariest for me. And there are distillers who are trying to take advantage of new streams of revenue from, like, whether barrel brokers or doubling down on their tourism efforts because their whiskey sales are soft. In fact, I've had several distillers tell me that they have either stopped distillation or they've slowed back on distillation. So they're not getting enough case sales to warrant dropping, new make into barrels. So that is actually something that I flag as scary. Now, here's the thing. All of that is to say that we are, what I think we are seeing is, I think that we are seeing a customer base that knows what it wants now. I think we've seen a lot of people trying new things. There's a lot of things that are sexy and cool, and they've tried them, and now they want to go with what they like. And I don't know if that is good for the industry, but I do know that sales are not hurting. The category itself is doing just fine. I want to give you a few numbers from both the Distilled Spirits Council of the United States and the Kentucky Distillers Association. So Discus reported just a couple days ago that American spirit exports were $2.2 billion, 63% of which was American whiskey. So I have been told by numerous brands that they are putting their focus back into the international markets. In particular, they are beginning to target China and Australia, and focusing more on Europe and South America. But I've had a couple brands tell me that they're doing product launches in Beijing over Tokyo. So if you in Tokyo is like a major American whiskey city. So if we are beginning to see distillers put a focus on China, which I have a book, let me see if I have it right here. Yeah. So, I mean, in China, they translated my book, Bourbon Curious. And so if you're in China, you can find my book out there. And so this is a market that everyone is focusing on. The Chinese people and the people in the spirits industry in China are wanting more American whiskey there. So I think you're going to see a big effort from the larger companies on China and other parts of the world. But so exports are strong, so that's always a good indicator for the industry as a whole, especially the larger companies. Now this is one that's specific to Kentucky distillers, in that there is a $9 billion economic output for tourism. So the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, that stat comes from the KDA, by the way. You have the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. You have Buffalo Trace, which is not on the Bourbon Trail, doing incredibly well, bringing in tourists. You have all these people just wanting to come and smell the air, touch the barrels, and sip some whiskey. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And that is one of the things that people always talk about the bourbon boom busting, and, comparing it to past years. In 1968 to 1972, when we saw light whiskey come out and that be an enormous failure, and vodka was really cleaning the clock of bourbon, that was not a period of tourism. And so now we have a different world where we have people traveling to Kentucky just to see a distillery. We also have whiskey media. Take a look, get on Instagram sometime. If you're not on Instagram, stay away from it probably. But get on social media sometime and see how many people have bourbon handles, right? Or see how many people are on Twitter just talking about whiskey all the time. I mean, for God's sake, I make my living drinking with people and talking about whiskey. I mean, that's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I pinch myself every single day that I'm able to do this. So that is a very big difference between now and yesterday. We're in the middle of a $5.2 billion building boom. So distillers are putting all that investment into new infrastructure, also a KDA stat. So the question is, if they're building all that, are they just going to let it collapse? I'd say not. I'd say they're going to keep this momentum going. And there's also a 475% production increase. So that's the production. Like right now, it's increased 475%. And you're looking at 12.6 million barrels aging. So those stats are all very much pointing toward a healthy industry. But you do have to wonder if these stats and if the growth and the positives for American whiskey are only with the big brands. And that is something that I do think about a lot. And the big brands are always going to be fine, right? And they just move one thing to another. Somebody has an MBA. If they lose their job, they're going to be working for somewhere else, like, I don't know, Colgate or BMW. I don't know why I said those companies, but I did. And if it's a small distiller, a small business, that's hard. It's hard right now if you are a small distiller You cannot compete with the big guys. You cannot, generate the kind of marketing dollars you need to get in front of somebody. So I would say, if you genuinely care about some of the small distillers, if you genuinely care about the industry, patronize where you can. Go to the gift shop, buy a set of coasters, try to buy a bottle in the store. Do what you can to help the smaller distillers and the independent bottlers too. The people who are doing blends and straights. If you like them, support them, and make them your go-to. Because here's the thing: if these little trends that are coming from if these go more mainstream outside of the people I've talked to, if more people start, not sipping on some of these brands, they're going to go away. Small distillers are going to go away if you do not support them. So the industry's great. Oh boy, it's great. But if you don't have customers, it's not great for you. So I'd like to encourage anybody out there that has a small distiller or an independent bottler that they support, put them in the comment section and tell people why they should go check them out. I'll throw one at you. I just tasted this, reviewed it for my whiskey club, Club Marzipan, Ponfay. This is a straight whiskey out of Pennsylvania. I'd say support them. If you want to see that review, go check out my Club Marzipan. You will find details on it in the description. That's going to do it here, folks. Be safe out there, and remember, the whiskey boom, the bourbon boom is not going away, but we might start seeing some brands shutter off, and just, that doesn't mean the whole industry is collapsing. That's going to do it here, folks. Be safe.